Welcome to my 8-part series on the home buying process. This is video 1 of 8, and this first video is going to be about meeting with a real estate agent. Alright, don't mind the printer, I just used it because I wanted to show you this. This is what the video series is going to be about. This is what the roadmap for the 8-part roadmap series. Each part of the roadmap is a key stage in the home buying process, and we're going to start here with 1, meeting the real estate agent. Alright, and before I get into that, I just wanted to say to those of you home buyers out there, if you are confused about the process, these videos are going to help you with that. Okay, if you got friends that are confused about the process, this video is going to help them. So make sure you save it, you share it, you subscribe, because I'm going to put out more videos for this series, plus a series for the selling process and other key elements for being involved in real estate. Alright, so with that being said, let's kick it off and start talking about the meeting with an agent and why that's important. Alright, now before we get into that, I did want to share my current experience in dealing with a lot of buyers. Okay, now if you guys know me well, you know that I mostly target sellers, but my first transaction ever was a buyer, and I have buyers I'm working with right now. Okay, so I don't discard buyers by no means. They get the same love and the same respect and the same service from me as a seller would. But I have noticed when I do talk to buyers, they seem really hesitant about meeting up with me in person. And some of them even flat out said, I don't want to meet with you because I don't want to sign a contract to be stuck with one agent. And I wonder, why are buyers so flaky about meeting with agents? Why do they get so hesitant when agents bring up contracts? And I think a lot of that has to do with not being educated about how buyers work with real estate agents. So that's some of what we're going to get into here. And the reasons, I think there are 2 main reasons why buyers avoid real estate agents and working with them initially when searching for the home. And I think the first reason is the most obvious, and it's because they're not really qualified buyers. They probably have no idea if they can buy a home, never talked to a lender, completely unmotivated, and they're just blowing smoke and pretending like they are going to buy a house because maybe they're impressing their girlfriend, or maybe they're just wishful thinking. I don't know, but that's the first. The second, I think, is all about being uneducated and not sure how the relationship between a buyer's agent and a buyer works. Okay, and so we're going to get into some of those. I think, first of all, I want to tackle 3 things that I think buyers probably that go through the heads of a buyer when they think of an agent. One is the buyers feel like they don't want to be committed with one agent, and this is what I'm going to say to that. Okay, if you're looking for a house here in Knoxville and you want to work with Ben Barreto, Real Estate Pro, Exp Realty, buyer seller agent extraordinaire, or if you want to work with, your cousin Joe Smith, who got his license last week and wants you as his first business. Either way, when it comes to the buyer's ability to look at the market and find the homes out there for sale, we're both going to set you, unless you give us both different information, like you tell me you want a 4-bedroom at $300,000 and you tell him you want a 2-bedroom at $100,000. If you tell us both the same wants, needs, and expectations in the home you're searching for, we're both going to set you up with the same MLS listing alert. Okay, so you're going to get access to the same homes through the MLS from both of us, unless he doesn't know how to do it. But as far as I go, I'm going to send you the same listing alerts any other agent's going to send to you. Okay, so you're not going to get different service from any of us except for personal customer service. And that's one of the reasons why you want to meet with an agent, because you want to talk to them and find out how they're going to work with you, how they're going to communicate with you, what kind of service they're going to provide. Okay, the second reason, I think, is the commission question. Buyers are afraid that they're going to have to pay commission to the buyer's agent if they get into a contract. And the fact of the matter is, the only time a buyer would ever have to pay a commission to the buyer's agent is one, if it's in the contract, which there is a clause in there for this other scenario, which is the only scenario where you would be asked to pay commission. And that scenario is if you go to a private seller. For example, your neighbor down the street has a for sale by owner sign in the yard, and you go to that guy and you want to buy his house, and the agent puts in the offer, and the seller says, I'm not paying any commission to anybody, and you still decide you want to buy the house, then you are responsible for paying commission to the agent, because agents don't work for free. We're going to nip that in the bud right now. Agents don't get paid hourly. We don't get paid for work put in, and we don't get paid for effort. We get paid for outcome. We get paid for closing transactions. We get paid for making deals happen. So whether it takes 6 months to find you a home, or 6 weeks to find you a home, or 6 days, we get paid the same regardless of how much effort we put in. That's why real estate agents get so emotional about commission, is because we want to help you. We want to help you. That's why we're in this business. We want to show you homes. That's what we love. But we don't want to do it for free, okay? And we don't want to spend time that we could be dedicating to other people that do understand and value the professionalism that we bring to the table. We don't want to ignore them and give you our time by driving you to showings, by spending time at home looking for the perfect house, by negotiating on the phone with agents and sellers, just to find out that you don't want to work with us and you're going to go put your offer in through somebody else or on your own. As a buyer, you don't have to worry about that, because 99.999% of the time, commission is paid for by the seller, okay? Always by the seller. So you don't pay commission. The only costs that you have to worry about as a buyer are, one, earnest money. Okay, you got to put some money down to hold the house while we go through escrow. Two, you need to have money for a down payment for the loan. And depending on the type of loan you get, depends on how much money that is. And three, you're going to have to bring money to closing table unless you work it out with your mortgage, which in most cases you can, and roll closing costs into the mortgage itself. Okay, so in reality, the majority of the time you need, $500 to $1,000 of earnest money that you hand over to the sellers, to the title company, and it gets held in escrow. It doesn't even get cashed. It just gets held in case you as the buyer back out of the deal. Unless you backing out of the deal is caused by the negotiations not working out, the seller allows you to back out. If you just back out and decide you don't want the house, they'll keep the money. Otherwise, you'll get the money back. And then, like I said, down payment money. And then, as far as shopping around with agents, I prefer that buyers do talk to several agents so they get a better feel for the type of agent they're going to work best with. Because as I said a second ago, it could take 6 weeks, it could take 6 months, it could take a year for you to find a home. And in that time, you're going to have to work with this agent, communicate with this agent, and you want to make sure it's a good relationship. Okay? So with that being said, I think I kind of got into why to use an agent, but we'll just shoot through it real quick. Alright, so why use an agent? Alright, you want to use an agent because, one, you're going to get better access and it's going to be more convenient for you. Okay, as a buyer, you're not just going to be able to go to any house you want to look at and get inside and look at it. It's just not going to happen. Some of these homes, people still live in them, and they may have have it in their contract and in their with their selling agent that they'll only allow people that come into homes on a scheduled basis and being escorted by a real estate professional. And then the convenience is an agent can set up all these showings with you while you're off working, while you're out hanging out with friends. You don't have to do anything. You just say, hey, I want to look at A, B, C, D, E, F houses, and we'll make that happen. And then we'll just all pick a time together to go and look at these houses, okay? The next is negotiations. Unless you're ready as a buyer, unless you're familiar with the contracts put in front of you, and unless you're a really good negotiator, and you know a lot about real estate, are you going to be able to sit down and negotiate on behalf of your best interests with a professional listing agent who negotiates for a living? Okay, you want a buyer agent to go in there and negotiate for you and protect your assets, protect your goals, protect the home that's about to be yours, and protect your money and the bank's money. Okay, and then I touched on a second ago, paperwork. Do you know contracts? Do you know real estate contracts? Do you know what you're looking at? Do you know what every paragraph, every line means? If you don't, you want a real estate agent to go through that with you and make sure you're signing things that you should be signing and not signing things you shouldn't be signing. And then that all kind of rolls into this last point, which is protection. You don't want to go out there unprotected and try to get into a situation where you're negotiating and haggling over a house that's going to probably be the biggest asset you've ever owned and not do it correctly. Okay, and end up getting sued by the seller, sued by the agent, or getting cheated on a deal. You don't want that to happen. Okay, so with that being said, at this meeting with a real estate professional that you should be having as soon as you decide that you're ready to buy a home, you need to start reaching out to lenders to make sure you can get pre-approved, because most real estate agents are going to ask you, are you pre-approved? And that's what we call a qualifying question. If you're not pre-approved, generally we're going to tell you to go do that before we take the time to come sit down with you, because unless you're pre-approved, you know, you're not very serious about buying a house. So one, get pre-approved. Okay, once you're pre-approved, you call an agent. Okay, and this is when the roadmap starts. I probably should have put this a 9-stage video series, but because real estate agents don't do mortgages, I left it out. But step 1, get pre-approved. Step 2, call an agent, meet with an agent. And this is when you get to talk about the type of house you want. This is when you get to talk to the real estate agent, ask them questions about their experience, if you guys get along, availability, communication style, things like that. Interview several agents and find out who is going to fit best with you and your family. Okay, and as you're interviewing these agents, and as you begin to and you decide which agent you want to work with, here's some things to keep in mind in that process. Okay, so the first thing is to remember, agents work for commission. Okay, time is money. Okay, and money is time, and we don't get paid for time. We get paid for outcome. So we're not public servants. You can't expect agents to drop what they're doing and show you a house just because you want to see it right now. And you can't expect agents to just to be ready to run at the drop of a hat for you because you want them to. We're professionals. We're usually handling several clients at one time and negotiating contracts and multiple closings. And so you're going to have to understand that, you know, we have to work together. This has to be a working relationship, 50-50 both ways. And again, time is money. We work for commission. So with that being said, you have to be committed to the buying process, because to waste time on a buyer to find out they decide they don't want to buy is very disheartening for us. And it's going to and real estate community is small and we're all very tight and word gets around fast, and you don't want to be known as that kind of buyer because no agent's going to want to work with you. All right. The next thing is when you decide what agent you're going to work with, keep your appointments. Don't set appointments and cancel constantly. Again, time is money. We have things that we can be doing if you're not ready to meet with us yet. So only commit to an appointment when you know you can make it. And if you absolutely have to cancel an appointment, give us a good heads up and let us know that you're not going to be able to make it. Be courteous. We'll do the same for you. And if an agent's not willing to do the same for you, then that's not the kind of agent you want to be working with. Okay? Again, interview several agents. Make sure you guys match. But with that, never interview 2 agents from the same firm. Okay? Because that's just, again, discourteous. It creates a rift in the working relationship of those 2 agents, especially if you choose one over the other. It's not kosher. It's not polite. pick a firm, pick an agent, and then move on to the next firm until you find an agent from whatever firm you want. But don't interview, you know, Ben Barreto and Becky Sarah in Knoxville from Exp Realty and decide to go with Becky Sarah, because I might get a little upset with you, and I don't want that to affect me and Becky's working relationship. With that being said, never call a listing agent. Okay, when you're looking at houses, you see one you like, don't call the listing agent to find out about the house. Tell your buyer's agent what you want to know and let them find out for you. That's what we're getting paid for. That's what the contract's about. That's why you hired us. Okay. In some states, open houses it's okay for, you know, individuals without the escort of a real estate agent to go look at open houses. Open house in Tennessee, I believe, you know, it's fine. But when you go to these open houses, make sure that you let the agent know when they ask you that you are represented by an agent. If you don't, you can get that agent in a lot of trouble if they start to try to get your business, because it's illegal in our business and in our industry. So make sure you always disclose that you are being represented by a real estate agent. Okay, and then this is one of the biggest ones, and this is one of the things I run into a lot with buyers. Make sure you sign the buyer-broker agreement, okay? You want to sign this agreement because, one, it commits the agent to you. It commits them, it shows them you're serious. It commits them to you and makes them know that you respect their professionalism, you respect their value, you are committed to them as an agent, and now they can be committed to you and they can put in the time and effort to make sure they find you the home you want. And if you're worried about getting into a contract and being stuck in it for a year, you know, talk to the agent and find out, are there ways I can get out of this contract if things don't work out? If we decide we're not a really good fit. And if they say no, don't work with that agent. Every contract has clauses for you to get out of. Okay, so don't be afraid to get locked into something, because you're not going to get locked into it. Make sure that the agent's willing to let you go. Or your expectations are known. At the first meeting and throughout, remind them of what you're looking for, what you expect as far as their service, as far as how to communicate. And if you're not receiving these things, make sure that you let them know. Don't be afraid to speak up. You know, nothing kills a relationship more than passive aggressiveness, and you know, nobody likes that. It's horrible. Finally, don't sign forms you don't understand. Okay, always run them by your real estate agent, and if you have to, run them by a lawyer. If you feel like your agent doesn't know what they're talking about, and if they don't sound like they know what they're talking about, get the hell out of that relationship. And don't be afraid to ask questions of your real estate agent. You know, I get it all the time. Sorry, I'm asking so many questions. No, don't be sorry. That's my job. I enjoy doing that. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And you know, I guess to end this, really, if you're not ready to buy, don't call an agent. Okay? I know it's fun to go look at houses. I know it's fun to pretend to buy a home, but you know, again, real estate agents, we don't work out for hourly wage. We work for production and outcome, and it's hard for us to produce and get to and produce the outcome when we're wasting time with people that are just kicking tires, you know, or blowing smoke. Like, if you're not ready to buy a home, don't call an agent. Okay, you can go look at homes on your own. Again, you can go to open houses without a real estate agent in Tennessee. But when you are ready to work with an agent, call them. Make sure you communicate what you want. Make sure you respect them for what they do, and be honest and open throughout the transaction, and things should be fine. Okay? And if you're really worried about working with a real estate agent, hey, call me, Ben Barreto. I'll come help you out. I'll come talk to you. I'll answer your questions. We can talk on the phone if you want. We can text message. We can email. You know, I don't mind giving some advice, but, you know, just like every other agent, time is money for me. So if you're serious about buying, I'd love to help you out. You can call me at 865-978-6360 or email me at ben.barreto@exprealty.com. Okay? Other than that, get to know your agent at the meeting. Don't ask them personal questions, ask them professional questions. Expect the same. Be honest, be upfront, build rapport, make the relationship tight. And if you don't feel like that's happening, then call another agent and try again. Okay, there's lots of us out there, and we all provide different levels of service. Very few as well as me, but hey, they can't all be the real estate pro. All right, thanks a lot for watching this video, guys. Be on the lookout for part 2. We're going to talk about getting pre-approved. Oh, it is in there. Getting pre-approved. Okay, and what you need to get pre-approved, and where you can find lenders. All right, thanks a lot, guys. That brings Series 1 to an end. I look forward to seeing you guys out in town. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and like and share. I'll see you guys later.